it was refreshing. And then everybody started talking about it, and we went back and looked at a couple more films, and then
You might think you've already got Clint Eastwood figured out, the stone-faced legend, the calm powerhouse, the man who could say more with one stare than most actors could say with a whole speech. But now, at 95, the icon finally dropped the mask and let the truth breathe. For the first time ever, he admitted that there were 6 people in Hollywood whose actions cut deep, leaving marks he carried for decades. These weren't just casual conflicts or everyday drama. These were real breaks in loyalty that pushed him to quietly distance himself from each one. And none of it came from petty grudges. These were moments that clashed with the principles Clint lived by every single day: discipline, respect, and straight-up honesty. Nobody walked onto the set of J. Edgar thinking there'd be smoke in the air. On paper, it looked like a dream matchup. Clint's clean, stripped-down directing style teamed up with DiCaprio's fire-heavy intensity felt like a perfect blend. But off-camera, it turned into a whole different story. Leo showed up every morning loaded with thick binders, pages full of notes, highlighted research, and even old FBI transcripts he dug into like a detective on a mission. Crew members would see Clint watching him in complete silence, his face giving nothing away, like he was studying the whole scene without saying a word. Clint later joked, "He acted like he was investigating me," but even that joke had a sharp edge. The room could feel it. Things cracked during a major emotional breakdown scene. Leo nailed the first take. Powerful, sharp, and full of raw energy that grabbed everyone in the room. Clint called it perfect on the spot. But Leo wanted another take, then another, and then a whole line of them. By the 6th round, Clint wasn't even behind the monitor anymore. He'd drifted off to the side with his arms crossed, letting Leo run the moment dry while he stared like he was already somewhere else in his mind. When the movie wrapped, there was no warm handshake, no shared moment, nothing that said we just made something big. Just a quiet gap between them that never closed. And later, whenever Leo's name popped up in casting talks, Clint stayed solid with the same line every time. "Brilliant actor, not my process." And that was that. They never worked together again. Clint Eastwood almost never needs to raise his voice. His presence does the talking for him. So when he stood in front of an awards crowd in 2005 and said, "If Michael Moore comes to my door with a camera, I'll kill him," the whole room froze while only Moore tried to laugh it off. The tension was real, and nobody pretended otherwise. Their clash wasn't just about politics, it ran way deeper than that. Clint looked at Moore's filmmaking style and saw something he couldn't respect, a kind of showy behavior that turned real people into props just to build a spectacle. At one point, Clint even told a close confidant, "He treats soldiers like pawns," and followed it with, "I treat them like heroes." Those lines showed exactly where the divide stood. The real breaking point came years later when Moore publicly compared American Sniper to Nazi propaganda. He later tried to brush it off as humor, but Clint didn't crack a smile. That comment drew a hard line in the sand that wasn't going to fade out over time. A collaborator summed Clint up perfectly by saying, "He doesn't argue," and then added, "He erases." And that's exactly what happened. From that moment on, Moore vanished completely from Clint's creative world. Streisand and Eastwood rose in the same era as director-actors, but their styles were worlds apart from day one. Streisand built her films with full force control, endless takes, long discussions, and hours spent shaping every tiny detail until it matched her exact vision. Clint, meanwhile, believed in keeping things real and trusting the moment. His motto stayed firm: "If it isn't honest the first time, it won't be honest the 50th. That line told everyone exactly how he worked: sharp, instinctive, and straight from the gut. What started as quiet industry talk eventually turned into open tension after Streisand didn't land a Best Director nomination for The Prince of Tides. People backstage claimed Clint was overheard saying, "Hard to finish films when every decision takes a lifetime." That comment spread fast, and everyone knew it wasn't just a casual jab. It hit right at the core of their creative differences. Their final break came when the Bridges of Madison County entered the picture. Streisand had circled the project for years, trying to shape it her way, but she eventually stepped back. Clint swooped in, trimmed the fat, kept it simple, and turned it into one of the most praised films of his career. Hollywood insiders saw that move as a quiet message, and she definitely felt it. From that point on, they never bridged that silence. The distance stayed locked in place. Clint Eastwood felt the tension building the second Tommy Lee Jones walked onto the In the Line of Fire set. The energy shifted fast. Clint leaned toward a crew member and muttered, "Two bulls in one pen." And he wasn't joking. Jones came in ready to test every boundary. He questioned direction, reworked lines on the spot, and kept pushing scenes long after Clint had already called cut. Clint's sets were known for running clean and calm, almost like a quiet workspace where everyone moved with precision. Jones, on the other hand, showed up with full-force fire, bringing a loud, wild charge that clashed with everything Clint built. The explosion happened during a heated confrontation scene. Clint yelled, "Cut!" But Jones stayed locked in character, towering over him with blazing eyes like the scene was still rolling. Instead of feeding the moment, Clint did what shocked everyone. He just turned around and walked away without a word. That silence spoke louder than anything he could have said. Later, whenever casting lists came across Clint's desk and Jones's name popped up, he gave the same cool, steady line every time. "Great talent. Wrong energy." And that was the final note. They never stepped onto the same set again. During the filming of Where Eagles Dare, Richard Burton was deep in one of the roughest stretches of his life. Long nights, heavy drinking, and mornings that dragged like he was walking through mud. Meanwhile, Clint Eastwood showed up sharp and ready every single day, hours before call time, just waiting for the day to actually start. With every delayed take and every slurred line that slipped out of Burton's mouth, whatever respect Clint had started with began to crack fast. After Burton stumbled through the same sequence over and over, Clint finally muttered under his breath, "I'm being paid for the film, not the overtime." That line wasn't loud, but everyone who heard it felt the weight behind it. Burton later brushed the whole movie off by calling it a paycheck job, which landed like a straight-up insult to Clint's core values. To Clint, even if a film was pure pulp fun, it still deserved full commitment, real effort, and real pride. From that point on, whenever Burton's name came up, Clint kept his response tight and cold, repeating the same two words every time: wasted talent. Paint Your Wagon is one movie Clint Eastwood almost never brings up, and Jean Seberg is the reason it sits in that quiet corner of his past. She showed up to set already carrying more pressure than anyone could see from the outside, dealing with intense scrutiny from federal agencies and a wave of emotional strain that followed her everywhere. Her mood could flip in an instant. One minute glowing with charm, the next minute locked away in her trailer, unreachable. Clint tried hard to stay grounded and keep the production steady, but the constant emotional swings eventually wore him down. Crew members still remember moments where Clint would just stare at the floor while scenes were stopped again and again so Seberg could ask deep questions about character motivation that pulled the whole pace off track. It wasn't anger, it was exhaustion that settled into the room. Then came the blow that Clint never forgot. When the film didn't land with audiences, Seberg publicly claimed Clint's performance pulled the movie down. To him, that felt like a straight-up betrayal, something that crossed a line he didn't ever tolerate. In Clint's world, you never drag your partner through the press. Not if you respect the work, and not if you respect the bond you built on set. When Seberg passed away in 1979, Clint reacted with a heavy, quiet somberness, but didn't speak publicly about it. At one point, he shared a single reflection. "She wasn't built for this business," and followed it with, "And I wasn't going to carry that weight twice." Those words carried all the closure he was ever going to give. Some people will swear these are grudges, while others will say they're battle lines Clint Eastwood carved out after surviving decades inside Hollywood's toughest, coldest machine. Whatever angle you see, one thing stays solid. Clint never kept quiet because he had nothing to say. His silence always came with meaning, always came with judgment, always came as a final word without needing a single extra syllable. So tell me, whose story hit you the hardest? Which moment made you stop and look at the industry in a different light? These fractures don't just expose personal tension. They open a window into the parts of Hollywood most folks never get to see, the parts that stay hidden behind closed doors and polished interviews. Drop your thoughts down in the comments because I want to hear which truth shook you the most. And make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, share this with someone who loves real Hollywood stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into the history they don't teach in books. See you on the next one.